Let's look at the state of the government of national unity now. I am joined by political analyst, Professor Sethulego Matebesi. Professor Matebesi, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon on Newsfeed PM. Well, you just heard the president there on the steps of Parliament talking glowingly about the government of national unity, saying he has crisscrossed the country and many people are in support of the government of national unity. Earlier on in the National Council of Provinces session, he also spoke at length about the dinner that he had with the partners last night, saying he wishes we were a fly on the wall because it was such a beautiful gathering and meeting with those partners as well. What did you make of everything that the president had to say on the backdrop that one of those partners in the government of national unity has already kicked up a storm and threatened to go to court?
Hi, good afternoon, and good afternoon to your viewers. For us, this is not unprecedented. It's not something that we haven't foreseen. It's going to happen that from time to time there will be challenges to what we now refer to as a government of national unity. But overall, the president seems to be in a jovial mood. I mean, even if you look at his posture when he responded to some of the questions, unlike over the past couple of 3 years where there were moments where you could see that the president is taking strain, he's really embracing this, and he is demonstrating leadership, because if the leader comes out in public and creates, even if it's a slight glimpse of doubt about the current government that we had, I think that will be suicidal. So what he is actually doing, he is instilling hope not only amongst his own party members, but to South Africans to say, but this is an option and an alternative that came as a result of the election outcome, and South Africans have to support and embrace it.
And Prof, one has to take note of that different tone, the different stance as well that the president has been displaying of late too. However, speaking about some of those cracks, you know, he said that, look, challenges, as you said now too, will be there will be problems. It's about how we come together and solve these problems. They weren't under any guise that, you know, it would be just a unified approach where everyone agrees on everything. Of course, there are differences when we come to foreign policy. We already knew that before when it came to the BELA Bill, for instance, and the NHI. So quite often we're going to be seeing this kind of tussle between certain parties too. But I want to go back to what happened earlier in the NCOP. Some of those questions from particularly the DA MPs to the president were again in contrast to what the ANC has been calling for. For instance, you know, the affirmative action, for instance, a national health insurance bill. So moving forward, are we just going to be seeing them kind of threatening this court action and there being these contestations that keep coming up?
Yeah, well, the contestations will be there forever, and I can't see that it will come out any other way. But what I foresee is that both the ANC and the Democratic Alliance, which according to me are the major partners in this government of national unity, they do behind the scenes have realized that there is no alternative. The DA keeps on threatening that they're going to work away. The cake is too large for them to just pack and work away. And I think that will be suicidal also at a later stage, because many South Africans will ask questions about their loyalty towards the interest of the general public instead of their own party ideologies. But going forward from time to time, and I refer to this BELA Bill, we all knew from the outset that the Democratic Alliance had a completely different stance than the African National Congress, and one cannot blame them now. Initially, I thought, but is there not an opportunity for these party leaders to meet? But seemingly, John Steenhuisen did reach out to the president, and it still seems that there is an impasse. But for me, going forward, Strong ethical leadership will be demonstrated by those leaders who will be able to champion means to navigate around these challenges. And we yet will have to see how this will happen. But for me, some of the bills that you've referred to are definitely going to present a challenge, not only to the leadership of President Cyril Ramaphosa, but to this government of national unity.
And Professor, earlier, the leader of the Democratic Alliance, John Steenhuisen, held a media briefing talking about the BELA Bill in particular. Let's just take a listen and then discuss that.
And so, for example, we do not believe that the President should sign the BELA Bill into law tomorrow. Among other issues, we believe the bill compromises the rights of children to mother tongue education. And that's why I met the President on BELA yesterday. And I really hope that we can find a common way forward. But if the President does go ahead tomorrow and sign the BELA Bill, we will have to consider all of our options on the way forward.
So if the President does sign the bill into law tomorrow, there you have it, the DA saying that they will have to consider other options, not quite as strong of a stance as they had said initially, that it is a deal breaker and they would walk away from the GNU.
Yeah, not at all, but we all know what alternative or options are available, or the options that we've become accustomed to, that the Democratic Alliance have used in the past, and that could be the route of, the legal route, where they now approach the courts of law, and there's absolutely nothing wrong. I mean, some citizens will perhaps differ with me to say, but they are in partner with the African National Congress. The parties that are part of the GNU are still independent parties, and they need to take a stance on certain issues. There's nothing wrong about it, as long as the decisions that they take and the approaches and the tactics that they use are within the confines of our law. And then they also explore opportunities to discuss behind the scenes some of these issues, and seemingly that has happened. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the President is going to handle this, because remember, from within the ranks of not only the African National Congress but also the Tripartite Alliance, there has already been pressure, and I think the BELA Bill will present those who have been complaining about the DA an opportunity to say, aha, we told you so.
I may be a little facetious here, Professor, but do you think, just listening back to the President on the steps there of Parliament, he kept saying, look, I don't want to talk more about tomorrow. I don't want to ruin it for tomorrow. I kept saying, join us at the Union buildings. Do you think there's perhaps some last-minute talks that are going on, and we could see a turnaround from the President tomorrow, perhaps not signing it or coming up with something different?
Yeah, well, we've seen this in the past, and we should not be surprised. Perhaps if there's a postponement, an announcement will be made that I've delayed actually signing this bill into law, because it seems there are some other procedures or processes that needs to take place. So that can be the possible pronouncements that will be made by the presidency tomorrow. And even this evening, there might still be behind-the-scenes consultations taking place, which perhaps will determine the outcome of that particular meeting tomorrow.
Yes, and Prof, we've seen that those behind-the-scenes consultations, particularly at the 11th hour, can have a way of having a bit of a turnaround of a different outcome as well.
Yes, no, most definitely. It happened in the past, and as I've indicated, we are where we are as a country because of consultation, discussions, and we should allow this. And as I've seen, and the President have also indicated that this is the first time that we have a situation like this, and there will be lessons. But let's just hope that what we currently have, our leaders can be able to build on, and that we should not forever be in a mode where we forever say we have to learn lessons. By now, we understand what the citizens of this country want, and we need to have leadership that demonstrate that at least they can meet our citizens halfway. And by doing that, I think they will be able to bridge the gap between, the citizens and our public representatives.
Prof, another possible sore thorn here in this GNU is the matter of ethics. Now, when we talk about someone like the Minister Thembi Simelane, who a DA MP posed a question to say what will be done in such an instance where there are these gross allegations as well against her, and she is facing some sort of, the SG of the ANC says she should obviously present herself to the Integrity Commission. And then from there, the Integrity Commission will obviously have their report that they will give to the SG, and he will then pass that on to the ANC's NEC. But that, again, could be another matter where it is an ethical issue that could become a rift in between these GNU partners, with some saying, in fact, she should have already been told to step aside at this point, and the ANC saying, well, allow for our processes to take place first.
Yeah, well, it's for me what is very unfortunate, and one had to be careful because it will come forth as if we always want to blame or criticize the African National Congress. But what I don't understand, some of these issues first have to raise by external, people from outside of the African National Congress, and it seems it's only then that there's a bit of a reaction towards what has been said by somebody else, and that for me is problematic. Where is the internal structures? Why are the internal structures of the party not proactive and deal with these kind of serious allegations going forward? Because from time to time, with pressure on the MPA to prosecute or at least investigate the state capture, cases. Going forward, from time to time, I think these are some of the issues that will crop up, and it will once again depend on how the ANC deals proactively, not wait for, opposition parties or any other citizen to make loud noise about these kind of issues. And this one's, for me, what is problematic is just that a noise was made somewhere, and it's only now that the internal processes of the ANC is going to kick in, and that for me is a bit problematic.
Professor Matebesi, always a pleasure getting your insights, but that's all we have time for today.